Christians, how can we build wealth without allowing money to be our idol? Let's find out. Let's go. For us not to make money our idol, we need to know some of these signs and symptoms that perhaps we could be making money our idol. Number one, measure your worth your worth and the next person's worth based on wealth. For example, if you are broke, when you become broke and then you lose all your self-esteem, you feel like you are worthless. That could be perhaps you've made money your idol. It is okay to feel some sort of depression when you're broke. It is okay, but kuna kwanga na ile inakuwa extended. There are those, if they're broke, it is okay to feel bad, to feel down. It's okay. But sometimes if it becomes too much, it could indicate perhaps you have made money your idol, because your sense of worth, your value, it's not in your wealth. Your value and your sense of worth is found in Jesus. It is found in God. Even if you're broke, you are still very valuable. You are still a very important person. So if you measure your worth based on finances, then it means you have made money your worth, such that if you are broke, you feel useless, you feel there is nothing you can do. And it is okay to feel some level of stress when you are broke. It is normal. But when it exceeds the normal threshold, then it could be an indicator that perhaps you need to check on your heart posture towards money. Another thing, if you find people that don't have a particular amount of wealth, if you disregard them, if you think they're not on your level, if you think there is nothing you can learn from them, then it means you have made money to become your idol. So because somebody may not have as much money as you have, but they can have more knowledge than you have. And even if they don't have more knowledge and they don't even have more money, they are still valuable because of the reason that they are human beings. As long as someone is a human being, as long as anything is a living thing, it requires dignity. You value people because they are human beings, because they are living. You value them just like that. You don't treat people less, or you don't look down on people just because you think you have more money, you have more wealth, you have more status. Therefore, those who have anything lesser than you, chini. That means you have made money and some other things you are idol. Treat all human beings with respect, with dignity, because every human being and every person deserves so. So the first indicator is look at how you normally behave when you don't have money, and then look at your thought process, look at your mental health. Some level of stress, it's okay, but kuna ile level ikifika, it means you have put your trust in your money. If you lose your joy completely because you lack money, and if you're full of enthusiasm and life and vigor because you have money, it could mean you need to check your heart. Some level of stress, it's good, but some level, apana. Because remember, our joy should be in the Lord, not in money. So I'm agreeing that some level of stress is okay, but inafikanga ile point sasa hapa unafeel ni kama you are not worthy, you are not a human being, you have nothing to offer just because you are broke, or broke season. So check our heart, check at how we behave when we have money, check how we behave when we don't have money, check how we treat people that have money, check how we treat people that you consider they don't have money, or even people who you think you can learn nothing from. It could indicate where your heart posture is, or what idols you might have. Yes. Number two, you only think of profit, you don't think of the people. You only think of the profit, you don't think of the people. For example, if you are dealing with a product, you are willing to compromise on the standard of that product. If it harms the masses, you don't care. And especially if that harm is 0.0001, you're like, what is the harm? Can it kill somebody? No. That one, let's proceed. Because your number one focus is, what profit am I getting? What profit am I getting? If you focus on profit more on the people, that will indicate that perhaps you've made money you are idol. And I understand the purpose of business is to make profit, yes, but you should not make profit at the cost of the well-being of a human being. Whatever it is that you're creating, whether it is content, you are filming the most weird things, sometimes the things that sell the most are the most weird things that you don't even want the child to see. So if you are for you, in as much as you're like, I know this is not right, this is not good, but it's going to give me money, that means money has become your idol. You recognize that whatever you're putting out there can be harmful, not just to children, but even a larger part of the society, but you're willing to do it only because you know it will give you profit. That means you have made money your idol. If you focus more on profit and not the people, you could care less of how it affects the people. You're like, nobody forced them to buy the product, nobody forced them to watch the content, nobody forced them sijui nini nini hivyo. Ama unatengeza nguo yenye mtu akivaa tu once, akiosha tu hivi, when somebody washes that cloth, ishakatika. You're like, nobody forced them to buy that cloth. That means you've made money, you're idle, because whatever it is that you're putting out there to the market it should give you profit, yes, but it should also become very beneficial to whoever is buying it, whether it is a product or a service. Number 3, if you are willing to compromise on your values and your principles because of money. If you are willing to compromise. And for example, you will hate me for this, but for example, you are told, okay, I will leave that one, because corruption nowadays, it has become very normal. So for example, if somebody tells you, if you want to get this deal, give me something something, and that something has to do with your BODY, and if you're willing to do it, that means money is your idol. You should not compromise your values and your principles because of money. So if you recognize these 3, number 1, you value, you've put your identity and your worthiness and your sense of being worthy on money, or other people's sense of being worthy on, if you value other people and yourself based on their financial status, it means you made money your idol. Number 2, if you only think about profits and you could care less about the effects that product or service does to people, you've made money your idol. Number 3, if you are willing to compromise, you've told yourself, I must make it by whichever means, by fire, by thunder, come rain, come storm, I must make it. And you're even willing to do things that you don't agree with. That means you have made money your idol, or in the process of making money your idol. Now that we know signs and symptoms of making money your idol, now let us check, how can we invest as Christians without allowing money to be our idol? One is creating or adopting the stewardship mentality. Yes, so you need to remind yourself that whatever it is that you have, you are a steward. Whether it is a company, whether it is a business, whether it is a skill, whether it is wealth itself, whether it is finances. Remember, you are a steward. God has given you the opportunity to have whatever you have so that you manage it. You are like a manager. If it is wealth and finances, if God has given you access to money, or you know how to make money, remember you are a manager of that wealth. How you use that wealth, God has entrusted that to you on his behalf. One day you'll give an account. And what does a manager do? They use it wisely. They don't flex. When you see a manager does not flex like you, although some do, but because you know that you are here to steward this thing, you will not focus on flexing your muscles or showing other people how little they know or how little they are, because they don't have what you have. You will manage it wisely. You'll even use it to benefit the next person. Even when it comes to skills, although we're talking about wealth here, even when it comes to skills, if God has given you a skill, remember you are a steward of that skill. What are you doing with that skill? Are you using that skill to benefit yourself? Yes, good. But are you using that skill to benefit the next person? Or are you using that skill to benefit yourself and then harm the next person? No. As a steward, as somebody who's taking care of something that is not his or hers, you use it for your good and for the good of the next person. Remember, whatever skill that you have, whatever money that you have, God has allowed you to come into access to it so that you steward it. That means so that you manage it, yes, for your own good, for your family, but also for the good of other people. That is what stewardship is. You use it to bless yourself, yes, and your family, and then you also use it to bless other people, to grow it, to nurture it, because one day you will stand before God and you will give an account. I gave you this talent. You could sing very well. What did you use with that talent? You just use it to sing weird things, to give hate comments using your song. Every song that you ulitoa ilikuwa tu ni hate comments, ilikuwa tu ni hitbacks. All your songs are just hitbacks. If it, if it, if it's a skill of cooking, what did you use with that skill? If it is a skill of making money, this case what you're talking about, what did you do with that skill? Did you manage it wisely? Did you grow it? Did you nurture it? Did you use it to even help the other person? Remember, you are a steward. Whether it is wealth, that is like money, or it is a skill, or it is influence, or it is power. It is not yours to keep. It is not yours to brag. It is not yours to flex your muscles. It is yours to use in such a way that glorifies God, being a steward. Number 2, invest with integrity. So this means check on the things you are investing your money on. Is it a product or a service that benefits the society, or is it a product or a service that causes harm to the society? So another way is invest with integrity. Make sure you invest your finances and your money in services, in companies, in platforms that eventually lead to the good of the public and of the society. So invest with integrity. Number 3 is set your limits or your goals so that you avoid being greedy or you avoid going over the board. So for example, even when it comes to becoming wealthy, ask yourself, what is the goal? What is your goal? Not that you want to become the richest person. That in itself cannot be a goal. Why do you want to become the richest person? Now that is the goal. Your goal should not be, I want to become the richest person so that I can flex my muscle. So what? How does that help the next person? And becoming the richest person, what does this mean? Have limits, so that it will help curb your appetite. And at this, I'm not saying now you limit yourself. You can grow. Perhaps you said you wanted to become a billionaire, and God gives you the grace to become a trillionaire. That is okay. But when I say set limits, is have goals and allow those goals to direct you, such that in your quest to make money, you don't just make money blindly. For example, if you tell yourself, I want to become a billionaire so that I am able to, it doesn't have to be this reason, so that I'm able to help maybe the widows in the society, I'm able to help those people with disability, I'm able to open this foundation that deals with braille, that deals with sign language. If that is your quest, at least you will have like a very, your goal, or as you're making this money, it will be channeled in the right direction, so that if you become a billionaire and then kinogo another more billionaire rises up, you will now not start competing with this billionaire, because if you don't have a good goal, utajipata tu where you are just competing. Maybe you became this year you are the richest person in your country or in your county or in your community, and then after 3 months someone else becomes the richest person. So if you don't have like a limit, if you don't have a goal, you will start focusing on beating that person. You will say, why is that person the richest person? Now you start working towards beating that person. I feel that's so shallow. You just want to beat that next person so that you forever become the richest person. So what if you're the richest person? So what? But if you have like a goal, like a good limit, I want to become this billionaire because of this. Now this reason is what will be setting limits to this. So when I talk about setting limit, I don't mean dreamless. No, you can dream as high as you want to, but have a limit. How far can you go? What can you do? What can you not do? And what will guide you on what you can do and what you cannot do is, one, the reason why you want to have this wealth. This will help us so that you don't put your worth and value in money. You actually know this money will be a tool for me to give back to the society. Yes, I think at least from where I sit. Now, being generous is a good antidote to money being your idol or to you being greedy. Be generous. Give as much as you can. Give. I was listening to someone and I really loved their approach. So they were saying, and this can also go back to setting limits. So this person was sharing how they use their finances. So they have this business, and then they're saying, so at the end of the month, I look at the profits that I've made. So after they've paid all their necessary, so they've remained with the profit, and they say, from my profit I know, no, what, yeah, something of that sort. Yes. So okay, this is what they said. They said, after I've made all that I've made, I remove money for taxes, I remove money for this, nini, and then I go now to my profit. In my profit, then I put money for this one, I put money for two, and I also pay myself. And they normally pay themselves a certain threshold. That is what they said. So let's say, for example, I'm just using an example. They always pay themselves 1 million. I'm using an example. After this, by the time they're paying themselves 1 million, they've paid taxes, they've paid their workers, they have given money to run the businesses, they have put emergency fund for the business, they've put emergency fund for themselves. So after doing all that, now they remain with the 1 million they've paid themselves. And then they say they don't pay themselves more than 1 million. Whatever money remains, that money, no matter how big or how little it is, whatever money remains, they take that money and they take it to charity. I love that, honestly. I was like, that's such a good thing. That's such a good thing to do, because they are being very intentional with giving, and they've actually set limits, because remember, they have paid their taxes, they've put emergency, and they also have the limit for emergency fund for themselves, they also have limit emergency fund for their business. So they have captured everything, and then they've told themselves they will never pay themselves more than 1 million. So that's like a limit. So they already know, with this 1 million I can live well, with this 1 million I can pay for whatever lifestyle that is they're living. So whatever it remains, if this month it remains 10,000, that 10,000 goes to charity. If this month it remains 20,000, then 20,000 goes to charity. If this month it remains 1 million, that 1 million goes to charity. Now, how many of us can do that? How many? I saw that and I was like, that's a very good thing to do, you give, unatoa emergency fund, ya business, unatoa tax, unatoa kila kitu, unajilipa. And when you're paying yourself, you put a threshold. I will only pay myself this amount of money. This allows, at least you have money for charity, and then whatever remains of top, no matter how little or how much more, you give it to charity. And I said, God, if you bless me, I will do that. Honestly, I was like, that is something I want to employ, because it's good, although it requires a lot of discipline, especially if it remains so much money. You could be tempted to say, sinichukue pesa kidogo niongeze kwa emergency fund, sinichukue pesa kidogo niweke huku. But here alisema whatever amount that remains, no matter how little or how big, they give it away to charity. And I was like, and that lady is making money. Yeah, that is why they say it is blessed to give than to receive. There is somebody who holds back and has nothing, and there is someone who gives and has plenty. I would like to hear from you. How can we invest without making money our idol? Share with us in the comment section. Also, if you've loved this, comment with this thing, this emoji, comment with this emoji in the comment section. Also, don't forget to like this video, that way it is recommended to other people that like watching Christian content. Also, so that you don't miss anything else, why don't you? Yes, so I will end by giving this quote: money is a good servant but a terrible master. Don't allow money to be your master. See you in the next one.